Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you by BB. There is no second best live YouTube stream to talk about markets. Thank you guys for joining us here to start your week. Welcome back. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. Whether you were watching the charts, we did have a nice pump. We'll talk about that, of course. Whether you were watching football or even just spending time away from the charts with family, maybe. Welcome back, guys. We're going to have a great show in store for you all today. But welcome. I'm Snorlax. You guys also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Louis, Max, and, of course, Chef Jackus here for another week as we are almost done with the month of October. Man, oh, man. I won't make the joke today, I promise. But before we can really kind of dive into what markets have done, obviously, over the last 2 weeks, what they've done over the weekend, and what they'll do over the next few weeks, I'm going to ask if you guys can hit that like button for us, right? It's not a big ask, or for some, it might be a big ask, but even if it is, we're always very appreciative when you guys hammer that like button for us. Let's get the day off. Let's get the week off to a great start and hit that like button as much as we possibly can. And I will keep making this joke, though. You never know. We might look at soybeans just organically with the way that Percent and China and all of these tariff talks that seem to be talking about soybeans here recently. So hit that like button for us. We'll do our best to cook you guys up some alpha on today's show. But yeah, getting into the meat of things, because it's a big week, right? We have FOMC later this week. I'm sure even though the government shut down, maybe we're getting some data as well. Does it matter? Again, things that we'll probably discuss on today's show. We've seen the market recover very strongly since the dip that we had on 1010. Well, crypto has recovered strongly. Equities have pretty much been everything. Everything is proceeding as exactly as they do in equity land, right? Which is pretty much just green candles every single day. The real bull market seems to be happening in stocks. But I made this joke over the weekend in a tweet. It would be very funny if around the time where Hyperliquid rolled out their HIP, which allows you to trade stocks, stock perpetual futures on chain, if we were at or near kind of that inflection point for crypto outperformance against stocks, that would be kind of fitting, wouldn't it? Right. So we have seen crypto lag equities for the broader part of, a few months now, as Bitcoin has consolidated around 100K. Are we finally about to see some resolution? Well, Bitcoin has been grinding up, right? And it is grinding back into kind of the most important resistance on the chart, which is 115 to 116K. Are we going to continue chopping? Are we going to consolidate into FOMC? Are we just going to go vertical right through the right through this level? We will find out this week. We'll be here to discuss it with you guys as well. Altcoins in general, kind of a mixed bag when you look at what's pumping, what's not. I will say Hyperliquid strength is pretty notable, at least over the weekend, right, as they have rolled out new features. And I imagine airdrop speculation for November will likely heat up as well. But how are we doing, guys? What are we seeing in the markets? What do we think about everything that we're seeing really over the weekend? Is this a legitimate pump given that it came during the weekend? Do we have to fill the CME gap or are the CME gap ors going to be wrong? I'll be honest. I kind of feel like we're going to consolidate around here more or less into FOMC, but we'll kind of see what we get. How are y'all viewing the market right now?
Bullish.
Bullish.
This is what it is.
This
This is what it is. We said, I was saying that, hey, we are at the range lows. This is where you want to be buying. We are at the probably most obvious higher time frame retest in history on ETH. This is very shove in, not very crumble. And if we manage to close the week green, then you got the confirmation and we got it. Don't overcomplicate it much, right? Trading view line make bounce. It is what it is.
I mean, the thing I'm most excited about is the thing I'm most excited about, but also the only thing I really care about right now is the Q4 open for Bitcoin and ETH. We've talked on this show quite a bit about the significance of that pivot point and how they've used it in the past to really, really mess with people. They pump it off the open. They flash dump you below. Anybody that shorts or sells below the Q4 open as a pivot gets wrecked. every calendar rollover is somewhat important, right? Like there's always weekly open shenanigans or monthly open shenanigans, things like that. But the Q4 one in particular, I think, has a very special place in the hearts of the puppet masters that control this market and try to ruin as many lives as they can. So when I look at the disaster of the first 2 weeks of October, I say they pumped you hard off the open. October was consensus. And then they scam dump you below with the worst altcoin carnage that I think we've ever seen, notionally speaking, in the history of crypto. And now we're back above that Q4 open, and October's candle is actually green right now. So that's really what I care about, is just making sure we can stick that landing. Will we stick it? I guess your guess is as good as mine. I'm gonna just tail Jackus on it because I feel like he's usually pretty good, and he thinks we're gonna do it. So let's make some money, let's have fun. But like that's the only thing I really care about, is do we stick that landing above the Q4 open? And it looks really interesting right now. But the only thing that worries me a little ultra locally, so worry is maybe even overstating it. We do have a CME gap below us, and I can't tell you the exact percentage of CME gaps that fill. We could spend an hour going through the chart and marking it out, but it feels to me like probably 95% or more of them do end up filling sooner rather than later. So we do have a CME gap that's, maybe at like 113, 113.5. So yeah, somewhere around where Louis drawn it. That's the general region. But that shouldn't even really be that much of a concern. Like that's no big deal. That's just, yeah, do something like that. I mean, whatever, who cares, right? But I mean, I think things look really interesting.
They do. And, we might even end up closing the monthly candle of October bullish. They said no. They said they're going to have their fun. They had their fun. And if you're going to look at the monthly close, I mean,
Wow.
oh boy, if we close this way, that's huge. And let's see what we get. Still 5 days to go. We still have FOMC. We have advanced GDP ahead of us, right? Strong economic events. The market is going to reflect that. Some hedging will be going on and off during the week, but yeah, stay bullish as long as the market is what I kept on saying ever since the lows, and people still trying to call the cycle top. They did not learn a thing.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, we got another strong weekly candle close out of Bitcoin here. It's now 3 weeks in a row, respecting market structure on the weekly closes, right? Big flush that we saw just a couple weeks ago. The following week, they tried to push us down. This week, beginning of the week, they tried to push us down, but 3 weeks in a row now holding, key market structure on the weekly time frame. Bears had 3 weeks. Bears had 3 weeks to get us back below market structure. They failed. We've continued to hold. We even almost got a bullish engulfing of last week's price action. To me, this looks like a springboard back the other way. Like Bears had 3 weeks, failed. It looks like we should be making a move back the other way in a big way in the next coming weeks, as long as we remain to hold, the weekly closes above 107. I think 107 is that key level. We've been holding on the weekly, and we've been holding on the daily, right? We've been holding on the daily, and along with Jackus was letting our guys know, hey, I know we're getting close to that invalidation, but we remained, holding, right? We remained holding range lows on the daily closes, and you never want to count out, you never want to count on a support giving out until like given confirmation on that. You never want to count on this not holding before it happens, right? That's a recipe for disaster. So we continue to hold range lows on the daily time frame. We continued to hold it on the weekly time frame, and even tracking this on the lower time frame. Again, like just tap dancing around this range low level here, 107K. It was very clear that this was being defended by the bulls. Even after this big rejection, boom, defended by bulls back inside. And now we're seeing this push back to the upside after multiple failed attempts by the bears, right? So in my mind, we should start seeing a move back the other way in a big way, back to the upside, reclaiming our mid-range here. If we can stick the landing in this mid-range, I think we should start climbing back to range highs. We're in a fourth visit back to range highs, 1, 2, 3 for a fourth time. Fourth tap should be our go ahead for probably the last big move out of Bitcoin that I think is on the horizon here. That's going to surprise a lot of people.
I mean, you get to a point where the market is showing vulnerabilities, either like bullish vulnerabilities or bearish ones, right? And if the aggressive side is unable to capitalize and push price in the direction aligning with that vulnerability, then you simply mean revert and buoy back the other way because you see a positional unwind. So when I look at what happened recently, Bitcoin was absolutely vulnerable below 110, where if they were really going to break this thing down, they had quite the opportunity to do so. Nobody knew for sure whether it was going to happen or not, but you had to recognize, okay, this is either a major discount in a position where Bitcoin is showing vulnerabilities, sitting below support, kind of flirting with a range low breakdown, but not quite having broken down yet. We were talking about this all last week. Like, if they don't break it down soon, you're simply going to buoy back the other way. And that's what's happening. You're seeing a positional unwind, right? You are seeing shorts were getting aggressive below 110, and you're seeing that positional unwind. It buoys back up. Bears didn't have the strength, I guess, so far. So it's really quite simple. Like, we're still just kind of in the mid-range. Like, I like how simple this chart is that Louis has here. It's really clear. But yeah, I mean, like, we're just kind of buoying, like we're just diddling around. But bulls didn't have the strength early October to stick the range high breakout. Bears clearly didn't have the strength to break it down when we were flirting with it, a week ago. So now we're kind of back in the middle. Maybe you get a little bit more chop. But I really think that just like being above that Q4 pivot point is so important. Like, there will probably be some more games around it, but it really is an important level.
As I said before, bears mistakenly thought that it's the bulls that have a point to prove, but it was vice versa. It was bears that had to prove they are in control. And they were not.
Deviation, bro.
The trend remains. And yeah, guys, I mean, with, we have FOMC this week. It's an FOMC week. What do you guys think? Do you think we will get an official announcement of the end of QT? Perhaps. I mean, we are getting a rate cut. That's a done deal. But the market cares about the end of QT now.
Well, I think last week we saw like Jamie Dimon yapping about it, right? Or some big banker somewhere. I'm pretty sure it was Jamie. Does anybody else remember that?
It was Jamie Dimon.
I don't know if I trust that guy generally, but I feel like that's
He's usually a fade.
Yeah, he's kind of a rat, bro. Like, he's been shit talking crypto for years, and then they start like offering crypto products, and like I feel like they bring him out, at like weird times to be a talking head. But I don't know. I mean, it does make sense that QT would be coming to an end. Like, I wouldn't go just based off of what Jamie was saying, but yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear the market's been waiting for that for quite some time, right?
I mean, the Russell's kind of signaling that right? Last week, we finally got our weekly candle close above the 2021 all-time high, something we've been waiting for as a leading risk-on indicator, especially for crypto. Last week, we printed a breakout candle. Weekly candle close above the 2020 all-time high, signaling risk-on season. You have the White House quote tweeting GameStop. I thought that was very interesting with Trump in a halo suit with an energy sword.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the Russell's kind of telling you everything you need to know, right? Trading into price discovery. Last time we saw this occur was November of 2020. And if any of you were around back then, I know I was, from November to 2020 until November of 2021, that year period of time was the massive bull run for Bitcoin and crypto and low cap stocks. That was like GME season, AMC, all that stuff occurred in this year-long period. And it was all led by the Russell breaking out on November 9th. Printed a breakout candle November 9th. If you pull up the total crypto chart, or the altcoin market cap chart, on the 16th, just about literally exactly 7 days later, the altcoin market cap chart just went on a massive tear for about a year. So that's what I've been watching. I did a video on this last week, right? Blocking out all the noise, blocking out all the negative sentiment, just looking at what the market is trying to tell me. And to me, the Russell printing a weekly breakout candle into price discovery is a massive risk on that's screaming buy for high beta risk assets right now.
So the question from Based Bailey is, doesn't the market typically fall after a cut though? And that's not entirely true. As always, everything's context dependent, and it matters whether the cut is being done based on economical problems. Like if you have a sudden spike in unemployment or jobless claims data, right? That's a problem. If, for example, the Fed cut it because we had a world pandemic going on, those, if you get a cut based on that, then yeah, it can align, right? But by its nature, rate cuts are bullish for the economy as it eases the monetary conditions for all market participants. And so if we don't really have a problem going on right now and you get rate cuts, they are actually very bullish. And there are also stats on this. Whenever you're gonna get a rate cut when S&P is at or near all-time highs, that's usually bullish for the next year or so for the price action. There are plenty of data on this, and the market has reflected it very well, even with the first rate cut that we already got last time. I was explaining this way ahead through this year, while all the macro bear heads were discussing how we will get the largest recession in history. But that's a tale as old as time, isn't it?
So we're approaching SPX 6900.
Why would you hold the meme coin if SPX is almost at 6,900 a pop? I've always asked that, but no, I'm definitely expecting QT to end. I'm expecting a rate cut this week. I have to imagine that they're going to continue to cut rates. I would say the only thing I'm kind of interested in is what long end yields do. I think when we look at things like TLT and treasuries, we're hitting a level of resistance. I am expecting some pushback here. And if we are cutting into a strong economy, that is not guaranteed to bring yields down. I think, if the context is, all right, the economy is very strong and we're cutting rates, it's actually inflationary. I think you could have a scenario where yields go higher. So I think the market's going to have to move higher with yields ultimately, which it has before. I mean, Louis and I were talking about this kind of before we went live on Market Check.
Yeah, we saw the 10-year bouncing from September 24 into January 25, during this time where the yields were going up, we had the Trump pump, right? We had the Trump pump. So, there is a world where we could see yields bouncing from here and, the high risk beta assets doing well. So
I think US will start buying its own debt, introducing yield curve control. And so the yields will be going down eventually because US has to start refinancing its debt at much cheaper cost. Right now, its borrowing cost is too high, and so it needs yields to be down. China and other large US debt buyers of the past have been purposely dumping, but US has created rails to create a new demand, whether that's from stablecoin issuers, whether that's by itself, to suppress that race of the yields. I think long-term yields are definitely a thing, and it's definitely a thing for nations such as France, which is in a massive trouble, for Japan as well. But I do think that locally here, US will bring their yields down before they will inevitably rise again due to the high inflation of the next few years. I think timing this is very important.
You will buy the debt. You will like it. Tether.
Tether.
yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tether. I love the Tether FUD. There's always been Tether FUD, right? Obviously, years ago, I think it was way more warranted. But when, last year and the year before, it was very clear that they were one of the largest notional buyers of U.S. debt, and everyone was calling for Tether to collapse. I was like, do you not realize that they own a majority of the U.S. debt now? Like, that is not going to happen. They did enough crime and paid the price to kind of stick around and last the test of time. So, love the Tether fund. It's always a bottom signal.
Is there a way we can look at Tether issuance?
USDT.
Yeah.
Yeah, USDT market cap, right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's a chart that I want to own, man. Why doesn't my shitcoin look like that?
Oh my god. This is log too.
Imagine if you had just bought Tether at 34 million market cap.
Sheesh.
I bet if I tweeted something like that, people would actually believe me. They'd be like, dude, oh my gosh, I missed it. I didn't know. What was the contract?
Where do I buy
address?
this? On Radium? On Pump Fund?
Yeah.
Where do I buy USDT?
I wonder where all this USDT is going to go.
Apparently not into Tron. No, I thought that was weird. I was looking at TRX for kind of like the first time on Friday in a long time, and I was like, why is this in a downtrend with Tether issuance straight up in a straight line? Because usually they've been pretty correlated.
I didn't realize. Yeah, this trade is done. So let's remove that. Yeah, this is maybe in my mind, this is onloading the Tether, and then this is
Oh no, those alerts. My
I thought that was
friends,
for a second.
liquidations.
Mara, what's Mara doing? Thinking around over here. Yeah, it's just thinking around here. Yeah, Bitcoin miner still really strong. Riot looks like it wants more. Go to weekly here. Gotta turn off log. Yeah. Turn off this.
That's smart coin. I think they're talking about TRX.
Yeah, if we see the Bitcoin miners continue to rip, I think that's another clear risk on signal.
Is the miner trade finally gonna print, man? That's been like the one thing, even more so than altcoins, because altcoins at least had their time in the sun multiple times throughout the cycle. But like miners just haven't gotten off the mat.
Well,
I
it's
feel
like
miners lately been doing really well, actually.
I agree with that. They have been performing over the last like few weeks, but yeah, the 2021 performance that a lot of people inevitably expected from miners has taken a long time.
Oh yeah, but dude, they typically rally when alts go crazy, which we haven't really seen either.
Yeah,
you know.
So like the same thing that happened with the Russell happened with the miners. So like last cycle, we saw the miners breaking out October 2020, like right when the cycle started. But similar to the Russell, they got stuffed, right? And then now we're just doing the same thing we did back here, but a year later, right? So instead of October of 2020, it's October of 2021, quote unquote. And you know, the altcoin crypto bull run as well as low cap stocks pretty much didn't get canceled. They just got pushed back a year, right? So I think that's what we're seeing now.
Louis, can you do me a favor real quick? Can you just say what ticker this is? The comment on the screen.
Mara.
Oh my God, that's so New York of you.
What is it, Mara?
Can you do it one more time though? Just one more.
In Czech, we would just say Mara.
Mara. Yeah, it's Mara.
I
Mara
like how
is,
you say it, Louis. It's different, but I like it, you know, because it's authentic and it's you and it's genuine.
How do you say it?
You know,
Louis, they used to criticize me for the way that I would say Ave.
Hey, Ave.
What?
That doesn't even make sense, though, Tommy. That I have
Yes,
to agree with you on. That,
yes, it does.
That doesn't
That's
make
autism.
sense.
So what is it, Mara?
You got to roll your R. It's Mara.
Mara.
You got to roll your R. Yeah, that's how you say
Mara.
it. Mara.
Mara. What's the matter?
What's the matter?
What's MicroStrategy doing here?
I feel good about our bet max with MicroStrategy.
What's our bet with MicroStrategy? I already lost one bet to you.
No, I don't have the bet with you. It's with you and Jackus, but I'm playing like synthetic futures on this side.
Wait, can you remind me did I write it down somewhere? Like, what was the bet?
Wasn't it like all-time highs on MicroStrategy by like
September or something?
Q1 or Q2 of next year?
Yeah, I think it might have been Q2. Yeah. Did we write it down? Let me check my chart and see if it's on there. I can't remember, man.
I think it was Q2.
I think it was January of Q1, high. Jack, is, you know, now that I think about it.
No. It was
and we bet $1 million.
We were discussing this and he wanted to do Q1, but I said that's a little bit maybe too early. So I said Q2, but we raised the price to not all-time high, but I think like 650.
Okay, let me see. Let me see if I have any drawings saved.
So it's like Q2, end of Q2, 650, I believe.
We can roll back the tape. I gotta write this stuff down like I did with me and Tommy, because I'll forget, you know, like I do a lot of yapping. But you know what? Here's the thing. I may have lost the bet with Tommy. Okay. But we are 1-1 right now, because there was old market check enjoyers remember the first bet. It was a Solana bet way back in the day. And you know what? Tommy lost like a gentleman. We went out. We had some steak. We had a great time. Big Country Tuck was there. Everybody won. So I'm going to owe him a steak now. And Tommy, I will just mention this. If you're in the market to really settle this, because we're tied 1-1 right now. If you are motivated, I'm willing and I'm there to make another bet. I'm just letting you know. I think maybe we need that to kind of settle things.
What's the bet?
I don't know.
Do you have something in mind?
I
mean, you don't have to say it now. I mean, you can think about it.
I will think about it. I will get back to you. There will be something.
We'll get back.
You heard I eat turkey burgers. I've never been more insulted in my life.
That's the worst thing you could say to him. I mean, that
They don't know how big of a cheeseburger fan I am, I guess.
Target.
But
say cheeseburger fan.
I eat cheeseburgers all the time. It's probably not good for me, but it's just it's so good.
Max's Plonk G. I don't know what that means.
I have no idea what that is.
I have no idea what that means. Plonk G? Let me Google that.
Guys, what do you think, by the way, of Coinbase stock now that CZ got pardoned?
Still very bullish on it.
I
Did
don't
you see
even.
my tweet about this, Jackass?
What?
Did you see my tweet about this with
I don't-
Coinbase?
I'm not sure.
Because I was saying I think it is inevitable now that because CZ's been pardoned, Binance is going to be creeping into U.S. markets, probably onboarding U.S.
Yeah.
retail and institutional capital, which is to me very bearish for Coinbase more than any other.
Exactly. Like that was my thought as well. So that is the reason now that it has played out, or like with CZ getting pardoned, which would be the next step after, right?
Mhm.
My question is it like, what do you think of the Coinbase stock here with that information? Because it does look good technically, right? And I would assume it's going to go up regardless, but maybe not as much. Hard to guess.
I think
It's
it
not going to be a Binance stock. You know, like,
Yeah, but you have BNB.
yeah, but
wait for
I feel
the
like different people are going to be bidding coin stock. You know what I mean? I feel like it's just still like is the same people that are buying Coinbase stock going to buy BNB? Yeah, I don't know.
No, I get you. I get the argument. Like you're saying, institutions will buy BNB and boomers will buy coin.
Yeah. And I'm the
just wait
boomer.
for the BNB DATs financed using using BNB tokens that CZ owns all of. That'll be fun.
Dude, I think I saw some tweet. There was some like report. I don't know how old it was. It was maybe like old and getting recycled. It was like looking into Binance, and apparently there's like 300 accounts on Binance that are all like CZ owned accounts that are like actively trading his money on Binance. But they're like
All
not
trading
directly controlled by him, but they're like his account. I don't know. I can't cite the exact report. I saw it. It could have been old.
I remember reading that. I think it is an old report, but I do remember that coming up in like 2023. Were they customer funds? Were they not? I guess we'll never know. He's been pardoned.
All I know is BNB never broke down from its bull market range last cycle. It's interesting. Nothing to see here. Don't worry about it.
Ask no more questions.
I mean, CZ's the king of buy my shitcoin, you know, like buy my shitcoin and I won't let it break down. And I'll use your money to make sure it doesn't break down. And that's fine. That's great.
I think
if needed, I will bribe the president of the United
States. Dude, he's the best to ever do it. I'm not even hating on him. Like, I'm literally just like, I can't believe he's been able to do what he's done. It's incredible. Like, just understand where I'm coming from. Like, the guy is the godfather, man. I mean, he's like, he's the mob boss.
It's proof that if you make enough money doing crime, you can get away with it. But you have to make an enormous amount of money to buy your way out of it.
Whoa, Lou.
I mean,
who did crime?
It scales based on how much crime you're committing. Right.
Yeah, well,
the amount you need scales based on the level of crime that you're committing. I was going to say, though, I think it's, you know, what would be really smart for Coinbase to do is to not try to compete with Robinhood or Binance going forward. Because quite frankly, your exchange doesn't even come close to Binance or Robinhood for that matter. And you're probably just going to lose market share. If you just are content with kind of like losing that market share over a few years and cashing out, then like, sure, go ahead. But what I actually think Coinbase should really try to do, because we've been seeing a lot of rumors about Coinbase dropping a token, is not trying to compete with those entities. Try to compete with Ethereum, like actually compete with Ethereum. I know that Base is built on top of ETH, but if we're talking about airdropping a token, the easiest way I think to avoid a situation like Arbitrum, where you have just this very high FDV token that never really had a utility other than just value extraction, is you kind of make Base Chain its own L1, its own network. You create the demand for the token to use as gas, and you try to supplant ETH, which is, let's be honest, I mean, the leadership of Ethereum has been very complacent for multiple years now. I think it's pretty clear that there is a share of the pie there for EVM chains to try and take. So if you're Coinbase, why not go after that? It might be a little bit Machiavellian, right? Because right now Base is built on top of ETH. So maybe they view it a little bit as betrayal, but like, why wouldn't Coinbase do that? I just don't see how they compete with Binance or Robinhood. And they kind of have like, it's kind of sitting there on a platter as far as I'm concerned. ETH has not done anything on mainnet in a long time. And that's not to say that they won't, but I mean, Coinbase has more development occurring on Base Chain right now than ETH has occurring on ETH mainnet.
I think it's becoming ETH mainnet in a
Yeah.
way.
So why not make your own L1 when you launch the Base Chain token? Because if you just launch Base Chain token while ETH is still the gas token, it's just going to end up like Arbitrum. Which
Not
sure,
if ETH is meant to be like the winner, right? I don't know.
It could be the winner for EVM chains, right? At least I think so. Right now, ETH is the incumbent. It has not been replaced. We saw kind of shades of it not being replaced, but clearly there wasn't any network activity on ETH for more reasons than just, I think, kind of their own complacency. But I don't know. I think there is a big opportunity there for Coinbase. But obviously their shareholders are not going to like that scenario. So we'll see what they end up doing.
I think the institutions have just been accumulating ETH over the last several years. That's what they want. That's what Coinbase is going to build on.
Ralph, addresses, I was just writing this today. Addresses holding 10K or more ETH have just hit all-time highs and have been going parabolic ever since we reclaimed that 2K range this year. Like absolutely mental. And people here are worried of a cycle top. But the institutions are dumping on you. No, they are not.
Max, I don't know if you're still
They're
here.
buying all the market.
What?
You're frozen.
I'm frozen.
Yeah.
I'll drop and come back then. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me though?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Now you're back.
Oh, I'm back. All right.
You're delayed.
All right. Give me a sec. I'll pop out and come back in.
Yeah, I mean this is a clear multi-year accumulation schematic, right? I'm not a big Wyckoff guy. I use it when it's pertinent. If you
Lots
pull
of
like
Wyckoff guys are saying this is a distribution.
because they're on the 1 hour, the 4 hour. I'm looking at the Wyckoff accumulation on the multi-year time frame. That's where they have it wrong, And this is something
Can
I
you
was
see me
talking
and hear
about
me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off if you're talking, Lou. I just want to make sure you guys could hear me.
You're good. I'm just yapping. Another Coinbase token I really like, Zora still. Definitely a little wonky here on a lower time frame or the mid to high time frame. Can easily be viewed as distribution, but I don't know. It kind of looks like a pressure cooker to me. Like I don't see this token dropping if the whole market's ready to reverse. And this is one of the only tokens that's higher, or one of the few that's higher than where it was pre. What date was that? That massive flush we saw. Like it's higher than where it was before that massive flush we saw in altcoins. So literally one of the only mid to high cap altcoins that are higher than where it was before that flush, and it was actually pumping into that flush, which is interesting. But I think if it holds 8 cents, holds this mid range here, I think Zora is going to be a real good play. Strictly because Coinbase is backing it, and I really do like the idea of this social economy in a way where it puts money back in the pockets of people that are pushing the content, right? Versus the companies. Is it perfect? No, probably not. But it is a real use case for crypto, right? That's going to bring and onboard people that aren't crypto onto crypto, right? Like big streamers and stuff that are streaming on other platforms, like they're going to be coming to Zora, right? They're going to be coming to Pump Fun, stuff like that. Like another example. But Zora just showing relative strength over the last month or so is really interesting to me. Who backs it, the idea behind it. And I think it's highly undervalued. Like right now, this is like ranked like 200 and something. I think this is a top 20 token. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I do, but we'll see.
What's
see.
The market
I think it's around half a bill, but FDV is around like $1 bill, $1.5 bill, something like that. So it's got a lot of room to run. But this is a little weird, right? A lot of wicks here.
And you got to love how they just let this chart sit on the floor for 3 months and then just sent the shit out of it.
And another thing that I noted, and I was talking about this in the Discord because I started buying this down here, was that this dump was them actually, they had token unlocks set for like right now, like the end of October. Like the token unlock should have happened where we are now. Instead, they unlocked it about a month early, nuked it. That was the trap. And then it's just been kind of up ever since. To me, probably done strategically because they knew October was going to be bullish. They wanted to get rid of the sell pressure beforehand. It was obviously right before, and they also released the tokens early, right before the Robinhood announcement too. So, yeah, very interesting. Definitely one of my newer high conviction bags. Really, really liking it. Really liking what I'm seeing. Liking price action out of it. Just want to see what it does from this compression under all-time highs, which I think is a pressure cooker. But you lose 8 cents, then I'm wrong. And I'll cut it. But for now, still a very interesting chart.
Yeah, that's a chart that is harvesting liquidity.
It kind of reminds me of Bitcoin on the ETF announcement down here. Jeez. Kind of looks like this. And I feel like we're here. Before that. I think what we're seeing now is like we're here. Kind of this compression after reclaiming the range. And then expansion again.
Let me see what derivatives look like. How high did DGen get? I'm trying to think.
I think it hit over $1 billion.
Is this a lot like Farcaster, or is it different?
I think it's a little different. I guess it's kind of similar. Farcaster seems to be something that also that base is pushing.
Oh, they're two different. I thought they were pretty similar. It's pretty clear Coinbase wants to capture like the social network meta within crypto.
I feel like Farcaster is more of like the X and Zora is more like the YouTube, Instagram.
Gotcha.
But I've seen Farcaster a lot. I haven't really gone over there and actually checked it out. But it's something that they're continuing to push, right? This social fi economy. And Base is really, really betting on and pushing this thesis and this idea. And maybe it's the use case that crypto needs, right? Other than, payments and stuff like that. So, and DeFi.
Seems like we did get a super chat, guys, to look at Brett.
I think, didn't we look at that Friday, like right before, or Thursday, right before we logged off? But
I want to say so.
yeah, I'm pretty sure we went over it. We'll see what Big Louie has to say.
And it has to move here. I know this isn't the full chart. Maybe it is, but I think there's probably more. But yeah, this is where you want to see it hold. If you want to, if you've been waiting patiently to take a shot on Brett, which is Boys Club, which I'm still very bullish on. This is where you want to take a shot. This is you're buying the floor. Got a nice little deviation of the lows on that flush we saw just a couple weeks ago. It makes sense to start seeing this climb back to the upside. But you kind of want to see it hold this floor.
Do I like KeyCat on base? Not at the moment, no.
Do you guys think, thinking about base, do you think it ever gets out of sort of this like triple beta narrative? Because right now it's still, like you can buy something on Ease on Sol, and then there's like that, triple beta narrative where you can buy the same thing just on base. But do you think it will ever get to like hey, I'm buying this asset and it is on base, right?
Yeah, I think so, Jackus. And the market's telling us what that is more recently, which is something like a clanker, which is a base narrative token, base token. And it's the AI agents, right? The AI agents on base are really coming to life. Stuff like clanker, stuff like virtuals, stuff like banker. And these AI agents and these tokens are really, really interesting and like an actual use case. Again, something that is actually usable. Like something like I haven't really used Clanker, but a token that was kind of forked or made on Clanker is something like a banker, where like that's something like I've used, right? You could like literally on Twitter or on X, I could say, hey, at BankerBot, buy me $500 worth of any token, and it'll go and buy me that token through X. So all I have to do is type in a message and it could buy, it could sell. You could even trade perpetuals on it. And that's what the market is telling us that it has an appetite for. And I agree. I think it's an extreme, reasonable, and real life use case for something for these tokens, right? Other than, oh, this token's on Sol. Let's just make another one and call it base token. It's kind of moving away from that. You're seeing a lot of these virtuals, these AI agents. Brian Armstrong just did a post and promoted like these X402 kind of agents, where a lot of these virtual agents like have the ability to do a lot of stuff, but they can't buy and sell things for you. These newer ones can, right? Just how I explained it. Like I could say, hey, go buy this, and it'll do it, right? So it's an AI agent that can do the buying and selling for you. This is the biggest narrative I'm seeing coming out of base right now, and the market's telling you that. Farcaster just kind of purchased or bought out Clanker. They burned a ton of the supply. You're seeing the reaction out of it. This is actually one that I was trying to play in here. Got fed up with it, sold it. But I am in Banker, which is kind of a beta to this, I guess you could say. So I still have exposure in that aspect. But yeah, the market's telling you and stuff like this. I think base is moving away from that beta to a beta play and more so real world uses like Zora, like the AI agents. So it is moving in the right direction.
I think we've seen some. I think we've seen some good like fundamental assets emerge on base over the last year or so. I mean, there was AI that pumped kind of at the beginning of this year, at the end of last year. Maybe that's the vertical that base chain is seeking once again this quarter. Obviously, you had Keto over the summer, so I think there are some fundamental projects on ETH. But as far as how base chain is viewed, and especially if they launch a token, I think they're going to need to differentiate themselves from ETH a little bit. Or otherwise, they do kind of risk just being like, there's a core group of like investors, I think, when we look at base chain tokens that have pretty consistently, found these AI and fundamental assets on base. But as far as more liquidity coming into base chain, I think you do kind of need to differentiate yourself as just kind of like beta to ETH, right? So I would say that about it. But I mean, certainly no shortage of opportunity on the chain.
Yeah, and there's definitely one thing that the entire space needs, and I said this multiple times, and I think that's the only direction this market can go, is for people to believe again and build bit stuff that they can believe in, right? People need to believe again. The space went from rotation to buying the beta of a beta, and what essentially ended up is that people rotated themselves out of all liquidity, and the only liquidity that was left was that people ramped up their leverage with the fraction that remained for them, and all of that got wiped out on this event that we had on tens of the tens. So I don't think we can go like further just sort of bidding shit because hey, it has a nice ticker, or hey, others will buy this. I think we need a narrative in which people can buy something and keep holding it, just like people hold BTC, or they will hold SPX and continue to do so, and then only find new buyers that will prop it on the downsides, right? So that's sort of where I think the space. I think this is the only way the space can move forward, is for people to believe again in the tech, in what the project brings, whether that's, for example, revenue buybacks, whether that's what just Louis discussed regarding you'll buy something and it will do it for you, people will use it. Actually, that's where the space needs to head from here.
Yeah.
Well, I think, I mean, right now, I would say the one asset with the most amount of social capital built up, and also probably the easiest fundamental case for most people in the space to understand over the next few years is kind of the same asset, and that's Hyperliquid. I think when you're talking about protocols that bridge the gap between crypto natives and what it means to be in crypto and on chain, and potentially, like I said, bridging the gap towards real world assets, trading stocks, generating significant amounts of revenue, because let's be honest, most of these tokens make absolutely no money. Hyperliquid makes lots of money and uses it to buy back its own token. So, I don't even want to call it a Ponzi, but it does operate very kind of like one, or very much like one. But the pump mentals, we'll call them, are very strong in Hyperliquid.
Tommy, I was just sharing a screen today, which said that 27% of the US equity performance is done from buybacks. 27%. So when you speak about like Ponzinomics, right? The whole world runs on it.
Yes,
but it's
does.
not really. The company has a decision. Either it can pay out the dividends to the token holders, and then it's up to them to do the buyback. But when you do so, it's already taxed. So you're buying with a tax money, right?
Right.
Or you can just directly rebuy your own share, in which case you are more capital efficient, I would say. And so because most people have been, whenever they are paid the dividend, they usually just rebuy the same stock with the dividend, right? Which has been the sort of the advice shared by the OG gurus in the stock market. So I don't think it's bad if the project is buying its own token back. Actually, it's something that's lots needed.
And I think it's a great thing that they do that, and it mitigates the downside risk in holding the token, which most of these assets, as we saw 2 weeks ago, they have no bidder of last resort when shit hits the fan.
Yeah, and plus they also do the dividends, right? Like they do it in a crypto terms, but they pay out the airdrops basically, right? So
yes,
so
and I
that's
think they're going to continue to do that. I really think that. I mean, they have these token unlocks scheduled, obviously, over the next 5 years. The scenario that I do not think is priced in to the token or the platform is that each one of these unlocks will actually probably be airdrops for users of the platform. So, just keep fading it at your own risk. It's also why I say, you effectively, it's kind of one of the only assets in crypto where you can say you're effectively staying long all the time just by using the product, which most of these assets cannot say.
Yeah. And that's what I believe is essentially the solution to most platforms in crypto right now. They'll have to introduce some form of revenue share, of the success of the protocol.
Got to keep people invested.
Athena is trying to do that as well.
I just wish Athena didn't have such a nasty token unlock schedule in FTV. That's the biggest hang up with Athena.
I know.
Haven't checked on that chart in a minute.
Well, that, by the way, what we just discussed, right? You guys heard me talk about digital assets and the transition. This is one of the main topics, right? It's less about the cryptography and the decentralization of it, and it's more about doing this transition into just digital assets. Like they are still, interchangeable. There is still some form of decentralization, or like anyone can buy in, but it's really not about like full decentralization. It's not about full cryptography.
It is why I'm bullish on Monero, though. I mean, pretty much nothing is actually like decentralized or privatized money except for Monero.
Indeed.
Zcash is performing, but I plenty of tinfoil theories about what Zcash actually is. I won't get into it on the show.
Did we talk about Trump token yet?
No.
Is it doing something?
I don't know. Someone in the comments just said Trump is almost at new all-time high.
No.
There's no way. Right?
No. It's kind of doing what World Liberty Fi did last week.
Which is?
It pumped and then it's just been doing nothing since. I bet if I check the derivatives, though, there's something in the flow. It's such a crime coin.
I mean, it's kind of moving, but I don't.
Oh my God. Somebody is just aping longs.
His name is CZ. I will pardon you if you buy my shitcoin.
Looks like it is on Binance. Yeah, it is CZ.
That's so shocking. Who could it be? I don't know.
Bet this chart had a decent amount of short interest. Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing kind of like from the altcoins that I was finding over the weekend that were pumping, most of them had like some of the higher negative funding, and it's kind of normalized now.
Yeah.
Virtuals. I'm trying to think of another one. Oh shit. What's that? Aster's got really negative funding right now for some reason. Max, you really have like the nicest mic.
I do. Sounds good. Thank you. I mean, it ain't much, but it's honest work. I think I got it off Amazon I think Ed sent me a link and was like, you need to buy this. But I'm happy you like it. We could do BB ASMR or whatever it's called. And I could just whisper into the mic, your bags are going to zero, Anon. It's over.
Target.
Capo was right. Just over again.
Wintermute buying Trump. I highly doubt that. Wintermute never buys tokens. Because they're always delta neutral.
I was waiting for it.
I was like, no, I was like, here it comes. Backhanded comment loading.
Now, I listened to the founder talk about how Wintermute didn't lose any money in the crash because as they were getting ADL, they were like, yeah, well, our risk limits hit. And as we were getting ADL'd, our algorithm sold off all of the spots. So we stayed delta neutral. And in my head, I'm thinking like, this is the guy who's telling you like, yeah, price moved like 20% against my position, but I had my stop to break even. So I didn't lose any money.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, Evgeny.
Sure.
I have a good ASMR setup.
That sounds pretty good, Jackus.
Target.
Dude, I just really want Bitcoin to rip to like 150K, man. Here's the thing. Like, I genuinely hate bears. Like, I hate them. They're filthy. They're stinky. They're violent creatures. And here's the thing, man, about like, I wake up in the morning and when I see just like my watch list and I just see green, Like I love that, man. I just love that shit. It just makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. And the thought that there's somebody else out there that, you know, when they open their watch list and it's just deep red, they're like really excited about that. It makes me feel violent, and I can't explain it beyond that. But I just love waking up in the morning and just seeing like green, man. Even if it's 0.1% green. I love the color green, man. You know,
He
I just
wakes up,
absolutely love it.
and then the number on the screen is going to decide whether the day is going to be good or bad based on the
Yeah.
color of that number.
You totally get it. Yeah. Like whether my day is good or bad exclusively depends on whether my portfolio is up or down, you know, and as it should be. Every grown man should do that. You know, you should succumb to the market entirely, submit to it. You know, your life should revolve around every tick up and down. You know, it should revolve around it without question, you know.
You know what's crazy, Max, is that lots of people have it this way. Like most people that are in the markets have it this way.
Yeah.
But statistically, we experience our losses twice as bad as our wins. So even if you
Really.
were 50-50 on your wins and losses, it will feel like 33 to 66% basically. Like you will it will feel way worse than it actually is.
This is why you change your candle colors to black and white.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
Doesn't
there's
really
little
help
tricks.
much.
There's little tricks you can play on yourself, but you know in your heart, you know what the color of the day is. You know. And you know, I just love the color green, man. Like when I just see green, you know, it's the best, man. It's the best. And you know, I just think that, and here's the thing is I don't want anything bad to happen to bears. I just want them to lose everything that's important to them, you know, forever. That's it. So just understand, you know, that's all that I'm asking for. So I don't want anything bad to happen to them. That they're totally fine. I just think if you think about it like this, where if you just kind of take a few things, like if they were to all write down like things that are important to them, you know, in their lives, just like remove all of that stuff from them and leave them with nothing. I think that would probably be more of like the equilibrium that I strive for. Because, you know, I just want to see green, and I want to see it no matter what it takes to get there. Just wake up and just see just Bitcoin green ripping, you know, ETH ripping, my shit coins ripping, you know. And the fact that there's somebody out there that wants to see the opposite, yeah, I don't want anything bad to happen to them. I just want them to lose everything that they hold near and dear. And I think that that's very reasonable, and I don't think that that's a stretch. And I feel like the panel should back me up here. You know, like I feel like you guys have been a little quiet, and I'm starting to think maybe you don't agree with me, but you know, I think it's very
We're
reasonable.
just letting you cook. We didn't want to stop you.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. But do you agree with me? Am I being too harsh? Like again, I don't want anything bad to happen to him. Just take the 10 most important things in their lives and just strip it away from them, you know, because that's what they get for being pessimistic, you know. But
Well, is the cure to male depression a gigantic bullish reversal? And I think Max just said yes.
it is, yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely is. Oh, so here actually there's a guy in the comments here, Liam, 100 most important things. And see, here's the thing, Liam, is like that's really aggressive. I mean, think about the top 100 things in your life, you know, like priority list, write them down. 100 things. I mean, you're a psycho, man. I said like what, top 5 to 10, you know, 100. I mean, that's evil, man. That's like, I mean, if that's what it takes, I guess that's fine. Like, you know, I can get behind that too. It's just like I want to just be bullish with my boys, you know? And then there's like these people out there that are just like, man, how sweet would that be if like everything went to zero, you know? And it's like, man, you know,
Yeah,
no.
there's nothing worse than people that pray like are joyful and happy for people's loss, and that's what bears are. Right?
Look at this comment. Tommy wants an event and a turkey burger. I know he wants one of those things.
Burgers. I hate turkey burgers. Here's what I'll say about the whole discussion, though. I do find a certain level of, I do agree, like in general, like pessimists don't deserve to win in financial markets where time has shown us it's going to go up and to the right in enough time. But I will also say that when we look back on the last year, what has caused the carnage in crypto, the pump and dumps, the meme coin extractions that caused the bottom of the market to fall out multiple times? And it is from some of the most vocal bulls. So I get the vitriol towards bears, but I do think to some degree it's like we need to understand who's extracting the most amount of value from this market as well. And it is people who are very outspoken bulls. And I think that's a fair criticism as well.
I still think bears should lose everything, but that's okay. That's okay. I appreciate the insights, you know. And you are right. You are right, but Bitcoin deserves higher, man. Bitcoin deserves way more than 126 or whatever we topped at. ETH deserves way more than a sweep of the all-time high from last cycle. I mean, BMNR deserves to be, you know, a $500 stock, and it is what it is. It's just one of those things. BMNR should be a $500 stock. If he's going to do what Saylor did last cycle, this is a sleeper play here. This is going to launch off the floor. You know, if ETH goes to like 10K, this thing will squeeze to, you know, $500 in like a month. It'll just be ridiculous. And then it'll be topped for 4 or 5 years. But the squeeze will be epic, right?
Well, that's good. That would be tragic.
Yeah, BMNR looks really good here. Big squeeze coming.
Relax.
This
is a funny one too. This is funny. Just put on a hockey helmet. You'll be fine. All right. Buy my shitcoin. Louis, put this in log for me. Put this in log for me. All right. Now draw a range high, range low, mid range, and 1618 fib. Do you do that? Do you have that template? There we go. Look at that mid range interaction, and now go look at your 1618. Go look at your 1618. This is a $500 stock this cycle. Tom Lee gonna squeeze it.
Are we going to retire our bloodline?
Looks a lot like GameStop stock now. Interestingly.
Jackus, I think I should ask you, are we going to retire our bloodline or no?
Well, I asked you.
I know, but
are you,
you're the guy. You're the guy.
Are you asking me the question that I asked without answering me?
That's exactly what I did. 100% precisely what I did. Yes.
Well, I'm going to pass it back.
Okay. Now I have a question for you since you pass it back to me. Do you think, Jackus, that we will retire our bloodlines this cycle?
Well, now
totally
I have
different
to
question.
Forward and ask Louis, do you think we will retire our bloodline this cycle?
Yes.
Wow, he answered the question. Wow.
It will not have been for nothing. That's for sure.
Okay. Well, I think this is the end of the show, guys. We're genuinely waffling about nothing, and we're about
it was that time.
It's about that time.
But the waffle is part of it too.
I love the waffle. Honestly, I think there's more value in the waffle sometimes than there is the analysis. Like you come on here, you just like you have some fun, and then like, throughout, within the waffle, there is alpha hidden, you know. So like if you read between the comedy lines,
Yeah.
there's actually a lot of information to derive from it, you know. Why is
Yeah.
Lightstick pumping? Is it over?
I mean, the chart looks good. I will say when I tried to long Litecoin and closed within like an hour of opening it with the market nuked, I think the next day.
Well, I think that the issue, Tommy, is that you were on vacation and like you came back and the first thing you decided to do was try to long Litecoin. That's never, you know. You got to ease back into things. Like that's
Crazy what Europe will do to you.
Yeah, Tommy goes to Europe, comes back, and is like, I think I will long Litecoin.
No, it's funny. While I was there, I was in Sardinia. I passed by like the $150 million mansion. I think it was of like the EOS founder. And the guys who were giving us the boat tour, they were like, this guy's like the #1 Bitcoin guy. And I'm like, the EOS founder. But yeah, no, his mansion was quite extensive, and it's a beautiful area of the world, obviously. So you know he's doing fine. But all right, that's a good spot for us to wrap up. Enough yap. We'll let you guys get on with your day. Reminder: if you enjoyed today's episode of Market Check, first off, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. But of course, if you'd like to catch the show later on this week, the best times to do that, really the only times to do that, unless you're watching on replay, are going to be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with a typical start time around 11:15 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure to stay followed and subscribe so you can be. Well, wait, no, that's for the spaces. Sorry, guys. Also, make sure to tune in for those spaces with King Wabi, a show called Market Talk, hosted through the Because Bitcoin X account, as well as Wabi's account. So make sure to stay following and subscribe to those so you can be notified, not just when we schedule those spaces, but of course, also when we go live. Of course, guys, if you're looking for products and tools to give you an edge in this market, as Bitcoin appears to be curling back up, altcoins coming back to life, obviously Hyperliquid, another thing that is really showing resilience like it wants to be trending. If you're looking for trading signals on futures for some of your favorite tickers like Solana, Pepe, Dogecoin, we've got the Volume Fusion Pro Discord. If you want alerts based on hourly timeframes and Max's Volume Fusion Pro indicator, we've got the tool for you guys. Check that out. It is in the description below. But also make sure to tune in. What am I saying? Check out. I might have had too much coffee this morning. Also, make sure to check out the BB Terminal, guys. Whether or not you are trading Base on chain, Solana on chain, maybe even BSC or SUI NFTs. We've got the tool for you to be able to conquer on-chain markets through data. And thank you guys for tuning into the show, though. We hope you enjoyed the stream. We'll be back on Wednesday, which I guess is FOMC. We'll see if Powell is just going to be send me somewhere good at least, man. Damn. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for tuning in. And as always, stay safe.
Tired of outdated trading tools, confused charts, dozens of tabs, endless stress? You're not alone. Introducing BB Terminal, your all-in-one command center for crypto trading. Track your portfolio, monitor the markets, stay ahead, all in one place. From chaos to clarity, from struggle to success. BB Terminal.